Hey there, Leo. Welcome to your reading for the week of September 15th. We're going to jump right in here. You have this denial card. It says, are you refusing to face the reality about some aspect of your financial life? You have this destiny card. It says, you have a divine destiny to fulfill through your career path. Your work will help elevate the consciousness of the planet. There you go, Leo. I like to see that for sure. This week is excellent for you to take the lead on things for sure. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see some like leadership energy come up in this reading. I also think it's a great week for you to work on anything like your intuition, right? So like doing spiritual work, paying attention to your intuition. Like, are you kidding me? there you go, Leo, right there, High Priestess. So definitely true. I think it's a great week for Leo to do that. There's just like a lot of good energy for you to be working on your intuition, trusting your intuition, following your inspirations, things like that. So I would definitely do that. King of Wands is a leader. King of Wands could be you showing up in this reading. So I feel a lot of you, could be doing things to take the lead in your own life. And obviously, like I said, it's pretty simple. It's a very good time for you to do that, Leo. Anything you want, it's a good time to like really, kind of make it happen. You in your current general energies is what I'm trying to say here. You have the Ten of Wands, the Ace of Wands, and the Page of Cups. The Ten of Wands, I think the Ten of Wands gets a bad rap in the tarot. Personally, I like the Ten of Wands. He's very close to achieving his goal here. So, he's done a lot of work. He's put in a lot of effort, but, he's very close to achieving his goal. So he, and the other thing is that he planted those wands. So it's like this is a harvest that he wants, And so I feel a lot of you could be kind of working towards getting to the end of, it's like you're getting close to a finish line or something, is what I feel. And this could be based off of a lot of work that you have done. Now, having said that, I would still look at your responsibilities and say, really look at what's worth it and what's not worth it doing in life. And, make sure you're not carrying too many responsibilities of other people. Again, the one problem with the Ten of Wands is if we, carry too many burdens from other people in our lives and we don't, it takes up too much time, or too much of our own time, right? And so we do need to be careful of that. You have the Ace of Wands. This week has been all about inspiration for people, following their inspirations, following their dreams, following their intuition. So all that is going to be important. The Ace of Wands is also out with the old and with the new. So, the castle back here is crumbling, and I would say there definitely could be like a new beginning that is coming in for you here, Leo. And I think it is a good time for Leo to have any type of new beginning that they want. I would, like, if I were Leo, I think I've said this to you before, but I could be wrong. But, if I were Leo, I would be like flipping things on their heads. I would be like doing things very differently. I don't really have any good examples, but it's like, I don't know. It's like, I like literally, it's like I could do my readings in reverse, right? I could do fire signs first and water signs last, right? Literally flipping things around. But I could also like significantly change the way I do things. I would just be like being playful with life. I think that's where the message is going. Like I get this message for you a lot, Leo, but I feel what the universe is trying to do is to get you to be more, like inspired or creative. And I feel just like, kind of like trying the opposite of what you're doing right now. As weird as that sounds, I feel doing those types of experiments in your life would be very beneficial because you just never know what you might discover. And I feel like that's what this card is saying. You have the Page of Cups. You do have a little bit of love here, as always. Page of Cups could be an admirer. Page of Cups, to me, is just a general admirer. You end with the Two of Cups, which is love, and, could be a person who's different than your usual type. But if you do want love, I do feel it could be available to you at this time. So I would be putting myself out there if I were you, or like trying to meet new people just in general. But let's see what's going on for you. I flipped that card. With the Ten of Wands, you have the Seven of Cups. Yes. So the other thing is that this could be you creating too much confusion with that Ten of Wands on something. If you, I feel like if you feel inspired to do something, I would just do it, Leo. Like whatever it is. The Ten of Wands with the Seven of Cups can be where you see the goal, right? He can maybe see his home in the background of the Ten of Wands. But the Seven of Cups is all the confusion. Like, he might be thinking, like, should I take a break? Should I wait for this to happen? Should I wait for that to happen? Should I do XYZ first, right? The reading, I feel, is saying, go for the star, right? We have the star card here. I feel like it's saying don't put things in front of your success. I feel we do this, and I also feel like I've said this to you before. I've done this plenty of times in my life where I'm like, oh, I could work on this project, but first I have to go, do the dishes or whatever. It's like, sometimes I think we put things in front of the things that we want, and I feel like the Seven of Cups is saying don't do that. With the Ace of Wands, you have the Judgment card, a ton of judgment energy this week. So, we could literally be in a time where we are all waking up to new opportunities, new ideas. These people are being called up. The coffin represents their old life. Outside the coffin is their new life. They're being called up by their higher self angel here to step into a new life. So I feel for a lot of you that there could be like new opportunities, a new life coming in for you, or you could be being asked to step into a new life with the Judgment card, and that's pretty much basically what I would be doing with this card is stepping into your new life, or if you're being inspired to take new actions, I would be taking them. With the Page of Cups, you have the Page of Pentacles. Page of Pentacles is communication. So there could be communication with a new person if you're looking for love. You also get the Page of Pentacles with me a lot. And, Page of Pentacles is the card of studiousness. I do feel it is, the past year or so has been an amazing time for Leo to learn new things. And this will continue into the future. When you think about it, you have Pluto in your opposite sign. And so in Aquarius, and Aquarius is all about innovation. So I feel a lot of you, part of innovation is we have to like learn new ways of doing things. And so if I were a Leo, I would be learning as much as I possibly could. But the other thing is that I would be learning through experience. I would be learning by doing, not necessarily only learning from learning, right? I would also like learn and put it into practice, whatever you learn, because that's where the bigger opportunity is. Next, in the area of what's coming in for you, you have this Broken Open card and this It Is What It Is card. So, there could be a lot of things that are, being exposed to you this week. It just seems to be one of those weeks where, people could be experiencing like wake-up calls or, sudden inspirations. We do have the Virgo eclipse at the end of the week, technically on Sunday, right, is the 21st, if my math is correct, which it probably isn't, so I would double-check that. But, what I would say is with that eclipse in Virgo, eclipses can, I think, sometimes, make us have realizations or can make us wake up in some way. So it does seem to be kind of like a wake-up week. You have the Queen of Swords, which I want to show you here, the High Priestess and the Death card. Queen of Swords is clear for the first time. She only has clouds halfway up her body on the card, and she is looking over to the Star card. So this is pretty good. This could say that you are finally understanding what your North Star is. The star can be your North Star or your guiding light in life it's like that one thing that you work towards in life to, get something you wish for or get something you want. So I feel a lot of you could be getting a lot of clarity on whatever that is. I also feel like some of you need to be like a little bit more open to receiving here with the Queen of Swords. I don't know. I get this feeling of like, it's almost like the universe is saying you need to accept something here with this card. I'm not saying that you would even not accept something either, but, sometimes I feel, again, don't put restrictions on something. It's like sometimes I think people say like, oh, I want to start this business and I'm going to work on it in this way and I have to do all these things to make it successful. But, the question I would ask you, Leo, is like, what if it could be easier? What if it's meant to be easier for you? What if the universe is trying to bring you a gift and, it doesn't have to be so hard? So Seven of Cups, Ten of Wands, a little bit of overcomplication energy. I think when life becomes complicated, then we start looking for complicated answers and, kind of creates this weird self-fulfilling prophecy where everything is hard. And I feel this is saying, what if it could be easy? And I'm not saying it would be, anything you're working on is going to be easy, but I would just ask yourself that question. Like, what would it look like if it was? And, be open to allowing the easy way to come through. You have the High Priestess. The High Priestess is kind of about trusting intuition. Again, I feel that everybody seems to be, downloading information this week, or, it's like the collective intuition seems to be kind of more tapped in or more on fire. It's like people are tuned in. And I feel that Leo is already tuned in the first place. I always talk about how, Leo to me is the most underrated intuitive in the zodiac for sure. There's no doubt about it. I cannot, again, I have a million Leos in my life, and even like my dad and my brother, I cannot. The thing that always happens to me with them is they will say something to me that I'm thinking about, right? So I cannot tell you how many times that has happened. And so I think Leos are very underrated intuitives, and I would be trusting your intuition. The other thing is she has these 3 stages to the moon on her crown here, and it kind of represents the fact that she sees the beginning, middle, and end of anything that she enters into before she enters into it. And so, but this doesn't necessarily mean that she is seeing something intuitively. She might be visualizing how she wants something to go, right? Queen of Swords, I feel that you need to visualize things as you want them to go more easily. Like, make things easy is what I want to say on this card. I feel it's like saying allow things to be easy as well. You have the Death card. Big changes. I don't know. There is every single reading this week has been like significant changes showing up in the reading. So, definitely in between eclipses, even though, again, the eclipse is at the end of the week, we're still kind of like in between. It is a big change time. We are in a significant change time in the first place. So, it doesn't really surprise me that we would be seeing some significant changes happening. I feel the thing for Leo is this guy right here. This guy, he looks kind of like a pope, or he kind of looks like the Hierophant, right? And he is begging for his life. But he kind of represents traditional belief, and he is kind of represents those beliefs that we hold on to. And so but really, the whole point of the Death card is that sometimes those beliefs no longer serve us. Sometimes we have to let those things go. So, don't be afraid of letting go of those beliefs that sometimes you feel like you maybe think you have to hold on to, but you don't. The whole point of this child, as well as the child on the Death card, is the only person that isn't afraid of the Death Rider. The child is excited for new beginnings. The child looks at things from, a fresh perspective. And I feel that the Queen of Swords is looking at an opportunity from a fresh perspective. So, I think gaining fresh perspectives would be a good idea. With the Queen of Swords, you have the 3 of Wands. There is also something about this week about like expansion and growth. So multiple people, again, have had this. Again, it's a very weird week. This week makes me a little bit nervous, a little bit on edge. And we've already seen some things going down in the world that make me a little bit nervous in the first place. So, I would like I've been trying to beg people for weeks now. Cooler heads prevail, right? I think we all need to stay level-headed at this time. But the other thing is I would look at ways to expand the goodness, in the world, and that's really what I would focus on with the 3 of Wands. 3 of Wands also says we have to like move in directions we've never moved in before. He has the opportunity to get on these boats that are on the ocean, and those boats, like, who the hell knows where they're going? He doesn't know. But they could bring him somewhere that would, expand his worldview, that would cause him to grow, and I would be looking for new opportunity. With the High Priestess, you have the Ace of Wands. Yes, it's like your inspirations are not an accident, is kind of the message that I'm getting here. The Ace of Wands is inspiration. I always say the Ace of Wands is my favorite card in the tarot, because sometimes I feel the Ace of Wands is just that one thing we need to get motivated, that like one thing we need that can pull us out of something that isn't great or that can improve our lives. It is that spark of hope, right? And you have the Star right here. The Star is hope, faith, and renewal. So I feel there's like a lot of hope for you here, Leo, where it's like there is a spark of hope that is coming in this week that makes you feel motivated. The thing with the Ace of Wands is it's like a spark. So we have to keep putting wood on that fire. So if something makes you feel hopeful or good or positive or expansive, I would keep feeding it with energy so that you can expand it, right? With the Death card, you have the Sun. There you go. The Sun is coming up between the 2 pillars that are on the moon on the Death card. So the Sun is your card as well, Leo. The Sun is the best card in the deck. It makes the whole entire reading more positive. So, clearly there could be a lot more positivity coming in for you. I do feel the reading is encouraging you to focus on positivity. And, especially with this, these eclipses that are a little bit sketchy this month, I think that the world definitely needs more positivity that you could shine into the world, right? And I would do that. Next, in the area of messages from your future self, you have this card. It says, allow love on it. Yes. 7 of Cups, 10 of Wands with that Page of Cups in the first row. that could be a little bit of resisting love. And I'm not telling anyone what to do or anything like that, but, again, if you want love, it could say that you need to open up to it in some way or whatever, or you need to move towards it. So, I would. You have this Oak Creek card. It says feminine energy and intuition. There you go. So definitely a very good time for your intuition. I kind of do feel it's saying, like, don't doubt your inspirations. Like I said on that Ace of Wands with the High Priestess, it's like, don't brush things off is what I feel like saying with that Ace of Wands and the High Priestess and this. You might get an inspiration. You might be thinking, I don't know. Maybe you're thinking you're reading too much into things, or maybe you feel like you're making things up in your head. Seven of Cups. Definitely with the Seven of Cups, we can definitely feel like we are making something up in our head. We can think that something is an illusion when it isn't. So I really feel this is encouraging you to, realize that, yes, like, the messages you're receiving are real. And I feel like you need to believe that. You have the Star, the King of Wands, and the Ten of Swords. Now, one thing I will say about the Star is it is an excellent week for healing or focusing on your own healing. So, I would definitely do anything you can to heal for sure. But I also feel this is saying it's time for you to, like, focus on your North Star, your guiding light, the thing that you feel excited about. And, I really don't have anything else to necessarily add to that because that's it. That's all I feel like it's saying. Now, one thing I will say is that the Star is about zooming out, and you have the Three of Wands right next to it, which is another great card for expanding. But, Three of Wands, he's kind of like looking over the harbor, that is in front of him. So sometimes I think we have to look at something, from the top down. We have to look at the big picture. And the Star encourages us to do that so that we can find, like, the best path forward. It's almost like, if, when we look at a map, right? It's like when you go to Google Maps or whatever and you type in an address, it gives you like 3 options, right? The fastest, and the longest, and the middle, right? And so, I don't know, that's popping into my head. Where it's like zooming out on something that you're trying to create. It's like you might find a better route to get there, and I would definitely pay attention to that. Again, I feel this King of Wands could be you. Right next to you have the Two of Cups, which this could also be you right here. So you are definitely showing up as very present and in a position of power and strength in this reading, which is good. The King of Wands is bold, assertive, confident. He really goes for what he wants, which I think would also be an excellent energy for you to embrace. You have the Ten of Swords. Ten of Swords says something is dead, done, over with, but this is probably a blessing. He's making a symbol right here with his hand. It's the same symbol the Hierophant is making with his card. And this symbol represents a blessing or a blessing in disguise. So I feel a lot of you, could be making or experiencing or receiving some sort of blessing in disguise here with the Ten of Swords. And obviously that would be a good thing. But something is definitely, like, dead in your life. I feel that you could be leaving something behind with that Death card. With the Star card, you have the Page of Swords. It is a good time to, follow your curiosity, right? A lot of inspiration in your reading, and the Page of Swords is just curious. And you have that child on the Death card, right? The Page of Swords is kind of the card of the child. So I think it would be a great time for you to, follow your inspirations. I think it would be a great time for you to tap into your curiosity with this card as well. With the King of Wands, you have the Five of Swords. Five of Swords can represent a separation, a breakup, walking away from something. And so some of you could be separating away from something with the King of Wands and the Five of Swords. But again, I think this is something old with the Death card. Like some sort of old belief or some sort of old way of doing things. So I don't really feel bad about this at all. With the Ten of Swords, you have the Ace of Cups. Yeah, I mean, there's really good love stuff here. So if you want love, definitely could be a love offer or something like that. The Ace of Cups is your emotions overflowing. The whole entire reading is like really wanting you to be hopeful, really wanting you to, do things that cause you to be very happy and overflow. The whole point of the Ace of Cups is that it can easily reach down into the water below it and fill itself back up. So it's about doing those things that fulfill you. And it's about creating more fulfillment in your life as well. So there you go. Next, in the area of the good stuff, you have this Wonder card. It says Breakthrough, Awakening, and Delight. Delight, another card of like word that is kind of like hope, right? You have this Conversation card. It says Subconscious Knowledge and Relationships. There you go. So definitely could be a communication about a relationship, or you could be communicating with a new person in love with this card, which comes up several times in this reading. You have the Six of Swords, the Two of Cups, and the Seven of Pentacles. Six of Swords is about moving on to calmer shores, so there definitely could be some good improvements coming in for you at this time with the Six of Swords. Six of Swords is just improvements, and especially in the good stuff, it would say that you are moving towards improvements or you are heading towards calmer shores. I also feel like you're being guided. Again, I do feel like saying this, like don't just brush off any inspirational feelings or any intuitive hits or anything like that, because I really feel you are being guided right now, Leo. You have the Two of Cups. Two of Cups, again, is a perfect match. So if you're looking for love, definitely could be a perfect match. Two of Cups can be like different than your usual type, but again, usually it's a good thing with the Two of Cups. This right here is the Staff of Hermes, and so the Staff of Hermes is Mercury, and which can be communication. So a lot of you could be receiving communication, or you could be communicating with a new person here, which obviously would be a good thing for you here, Leo. So I definitely like to see that with this card. The other thing I want to say here is that the Two of Cups can be you and your higher self, and I definitely feel. In the Six of Swords, that guy in the back of the boat is like a guide. He can literally be your higher self, a guide, something like that. So I do feel you could be receiving communication from, in your dreams, through inspirations, through your just intuition, through random, intuitive hits, whatever. And I would really pay attention to those things this week. You have the Seven of Pentacles. Seven of Pentacles says, is the juice worth the squeeze? The Seven of Pentacles is about trying to decide if working on something is worth it or not. He's looking at those Seven Pentacles and he's wondering, like, is it worth it for me to keep working on these Seven Pentacles, or is there something else or something different or something better that I could work on that would make me successful? And, again, I think that the whole bottom row, or, well, at least from the Death card over, is talking about a change, deciding that things have to change in your life. I kind of feel like that's what you're doing, though, Leo, it's almost like, I know that doesn't sound important, but I kind of feel like it's like the first step is when you decide to change, when you decide that things have to change. With the Six of Swords, you have the Six of Swords. So basically the universe saying I meant what I said here. Definitely could be moving on to calmer shores. With the Two of Cups, you have the Chariot. Crazy. I literally just said to Aries that everybody has had the Chariot this week. I don't know. So, pretty interesting. I don't necessarily think everybody's moving. I don't necessarily think that everybody's having a victory, but, I do think it's a great time to make moves, and the Chariot usually makes moves by moving in a different direction, right? He is leaving the city behind him behind, and so he is choosing to move differently from everybody else. And maybe that is the secret this week, is to be unique, to be different. Don't be afraid of, going your own way, or whatever you want to call it here, Leo. Don't be afraid of making moves that other people wouldn't. I would be careful of that as well. Like, I feel like if you're allowing other people to give you inputs, it's that's just going to confuse things with that Seven of Cups, right? And what to do is what the reading is saying, but you just have to do it, right? With the Seven of Pentacles, you have the Four of Wands. There you go. Definitely could be love that leads to marriage, if that's what you want. Four of Wands can also be like a new commitment. And so the Four of Wands, it can be a card of just committing to something. It doesn't even matter what it is. You have the Star. Sometimes I say with the Star that we have to go all in. She's kind of just dipping her toes in the water, but she maybe needs to make a full commitment to something that she wants to be a success. You have this October card and this dog far away. It says a distant friend is thinking of you. Yeah, so between now and October, if anyone important to you pops into your head, it could be a good time to like reach out to them. Could be a good time to like communicate with them or something. You have this rainbow card that says the most difficult part of a situation is over. Yes, and I think you need to live that way. Again, like I've been there in my life where it's like things became very complicated in my life. So then I started creating complex solutions, but that just made my life even harder, right? I really feel that Ten of Wands is saying, and the Seven of Cups is saying, what if it were easy? That is the question that you need to ask, because it can be. And I think if you start looking at things that way, that you will come up with a simpler solution, right? So allow things to be simple. You have this Ram card. It says stubborn, aggressive person. I've been telling people for weeks that no road rage, no flipping out, no arguments in the home, things like that. We are in a very inflammatory time, and so we need to be careful. Cooler heads will prevail, is what I would say. You have this carrot. It says opportunity or windfall. Love it. I do feel there are positive work changes for Leo, but they have to like create them. And the carrot, the thing here is that, the carrot is underground. We only see the green garbage at the top when we're growing a carrot. So I feel you need to like, it's like there's something about, Page of Swords. Page of Swords, he has to like dig into things. He has to be curious. So there you go. You have a success card. Love it. Definitely could be a lot of success coming in for you. It is a pretty successful reading. I would say, this week seems to be a little sketchy for sure. Probably the eclipse that we're having on Sunday. But your reading is a little bit more on the positive side, which is good. So thank you for being here, and definitely enjoy your week.